Sit back, relax, and take a virtual ride with me. You'll see interesting places you probably haven't seen. I hope you enjoy the ride and discover new places with me. Sit back, relax, and take a virtual ride with me.
Good morning, sports fans. This is Ben from Ben's Hangups, and we're back out on the road. And today we are on the road. This little trip is going to take us a little over about 2 hours and 15 minutes at least to get to our destination, maybe a little longer. We are heading north into the big state of Michigan. We're just driving along the Great Lake of Michigan here as we head north. We got partly cloudy skies. I'd say mostly cloudy skies at the moment. But a nice day, 74 degrees, supposed to get up even warmer. We're only about maybe a half mile here from the lake itself. Just cruising along. Sports fans, I'm going to take you with me where we're going to see something that I haven't seen before. Maybe you haven't either. A little different than what we've been doing. We're not going to go look at the town so much that we're going to, is what's in the town or around the town. Well, when we're there, we might take a little gander at the town too. Why not? We're going to be there. The big question is, can I get back home tonight? If not, I'll have to spend the night up here, which is all right. I can do that. So as always, well, it's kind of out of traffic here for a Monday morning. But as always, sports fans, I'm going to see you down the road. Well, it does look like a little rain, but it is supposed to clear up a little later. Meanwhile, I'll try to find a place to stay inside for a while. Yes, we're in Muskegon, Michigan, and there's the Great Lake. Lake Michigan. There's our destination. I think we'll start out, since it's still drizzling a little bit. We'll start in the inside of this museum. Then we'll come out and take a look at this. This is the Silverside, World War II. Highly decorated submarine. And the most successful submarine of all those that survive. All those decals you see on the side there, those were victories. Inside, you got a nice gift shop. You always got a gift shop, folks. And then you have a museum you can go through. And since it's raining outside, we're going to take a look at that. And there's the pretties. This is all about submarines and the history of Silverside and submarines itself. Very interesting museum. Now, I figured I'd come in here for maybe a half hour or so, but I spent a good hour to an hour and a half, somewhere in there. It's a periscope. You look through that, you can see what's going on outside. Then they have a section here on prisoners of war. And this was a depiction of a parachutist dropping in on D-Day. Some of the gear he'd be wearing if all that gear made it to the ground. Sherman. 6 years after this war, claimed a lot of lives. This panel depicts it. One death every 3 seconds. They have a lot of the equipment that you see on a submarine. They have it on display here. You can take a good look at it. Now the USS Silverside SS-236. Its keel was laid November 4th, 1970. Commissioned August 26th, 1940, just in time. She was decommissioned April 17, 1946, and was registered as a national landmark in 1986 and relocated to Muskegon, Michigan in 1987. She sunk 30 Japanese vessels and damaged 14, rescued 2 American pilots, and she laid 16 mines. This is pictures of a lot of the different commanders that the boat had, and I don't remember exactly how many, but I'm thinking about 5. I believe this was one of these are the patrols she went out on. This was, she went on a total of, I believe, 14. That X locates the spot where they took out an appendix. They were not equipped to do so. They had no doctors on board or medical equipment, but it was either that or he died. So they performed an appendectomy and he lived. This museum has quite a few models, different ships. A lot of these walls depicting a lot of what went on, some of the aircraft involved. Quite a museum, really. It's a depiction of a fleet, battle fleet, and even having a room here dedicated to 9/11, and a piece from the tower. This is a where you can sit down and watch a short video. They have a movie theater in the museum, and I would highly recommend that. That was really a good program. Second floor. Not busy today. I couldn't have been more than 2 people besides me in this place today. They host a lot of events, and kind of interesting, they overnight stays. You can stay in the submarine overnight, and they have Boy Scouts and different family groups and so forth that will do that. They have a kind of a banquet area upstairs in the museum itself that is utilized from time to time. Not a bad sized museum. Very, very well done. This is a battle group. All the the ships and everything around the four flat tops, which are the aircraft carriers, of course. Gives you an idea how many it takes to protect a battle group and those aircraft carriers. There's a lot of vessels involved. And here's the Silverside. The Silverside was equipped with several guns, a 4-inch 50 caliber, a 40 millimeter anti-aircraft gun, and a 20 millimeter anti-aircraft gun, which also served as surface to air. Well, those tubes right there, those hold the ammunition for the big gun. And it took 3 sailors to load that ammunition and 2 to fire that big gun. If you're wondering, is this operational? Yes, it is. And that is part of the sonar. Sonar, underwater. That's how they navigate. These wooden blocks here, that particular type of wood, when it gets wet, is very, very slippery. And that's where the tubes, where they load the torpedoes. This is a hatch they put in for sightseers like me come through the boat. It's not the hatch that they would have used. That hatch was on deck there. This area here, these tanks here hold compressed air. Are used to help fire the torpedoes. High PSI. And this be the forward torpedo room. There are 6 brass tubes here. And they'll load up to, I believe, 11 torpedoes can be stored besides the 6 that are there. It's 6, I think maybe it's 16. Not sure the number that they can store here. There are also 11 crew members that live in this quarters, so you can see pretty tight quarters, very tight quarters. It can get very hot and stuffy in here. This head here is for officers only. Very interesting, these heads. I believe there's like 7 or 8 procedures to flush it. Because when you're underwater, if you flush it and miss one procedure or get it out of whack, all that comes flying back up at you. So you have to get it right. This area is the officers' areas. This is their bunkhouses and wardroom here. You see the wardroom, and it shows all their victories. They have those posted on the cabinets. See, it's not very big, but still, for the officers, it's not a bad quarters. Officers also have a small, the desk here would indicate this is probably the captain's quarters. Probably, but don't hold me to it. And this little area here where you can get water and so forth, another officers' quarters. And this would be the yeoman would stay. And this is where he would type all the information that needed to be typed, the logs and so forth. These hatches are interesting. You would think you'd be hitting your heads on these because you go through sideways fast, but you don't. It's your knees. We'll talk about that some more. Now in this room you got 2 sides. You got this side, which is called the wet side. This controls all water. So this is the brains in the heart of the submarine. On the other side controls all the air. So you push water into your ballast, take water out of your ballast, it's done with air or lack of, and by flooding and so forth, all controlled here. You can run the ship from here. As you can see here, you can steer the ship from here, although this was not used very often. Now we go through that hatch, and I'll tell you about that hatch. You go through these fast, and it's the knees that get hit, and they call them the knee breakers. Now, this is a communications room, and with these communication systems, they can speak to anyone almost anywhere in the world. Kitchen, including the deep fryer. All the men on board this thing, well over 100. You're cooking a lot of meals in a little area. You got, I believe, 2 cooks and 1 baker. This is a mess hall. You see, not very big. You're stuffing a lot of men in here. I don't know, probably 30 to 40 at a time. Baking mixer, no different than the ones we have today. See, these tables are designed so the trays don't come off. Well, they still would come off if you weren't careful. Escape hatch. And this would be the enlisted men's, this would be their quarters. You don't want to sleep on the bottom bunk. I think this holds almost 40 guys here. Batteries under here. Now, one of the problems with storage, particularly food, when you got food for maybe 70 days, 50 to 70 days at sea, where do you store it? Well, you store it everywhere you can, including the floors in here and some of the bottom bunks. That's why the new guys always got the bottom bunks. Well, there's other reasons too. You can almost imagine the other reasons. Now, enlisted men, they had to use these latrines. The heads were in the back. Well, that's fine unless you're at the forward torpedo room and you got to run through all this ship and all those hatches to get back here to the head. Then it's not so much fun. That's where you bang those knees up. The engines are interesting. These babies are big. There's 6 of them. That's right, 6. These are the same engines run diesel trains. You wonder how they got them into this space. Well, I'll tell you, they didn't. They built the boat around them. Now, these don't propel the ship. You know what these do? They generate electrical power. That's right, electrical power. You see, this boat underwater has to use electrical power. So electrical power is used to move to feed electricity to the electric motors, which power the props to move the boat. But underwater you can't use them, so you charge up those batteries. That's why they had to surface at night. They ran the surface as much as they could. These are monsters. Starting up process is interesting. The shutting down process is just as interesting. Now, it's hot. It's hot down here, and it can get fumes, diesel fumes, and just not a nice place to be. Now, you notice in the heads there were showers. Officers were usually allowed to shower every 4 to 5 days. Enlisted men every 17 days. Ooh. Can you imagine the smells down here with the diesel fuels, the heat? Wow. It would have been bad. But I suppose you get used to it. Now, the cooks and the baker, they had to shower every day. Lucky dudes. But then again, they're working in a hot kitchen, serving food. Well, This is electrical. Very, very, looks to me to be very, very complicated area. You got to know what you're doing. It generates a lot of electricity down here. And this is a rear torpedo room. There's not 6 tubes down here. I believe there's only 4. And they only can store like 4 or 5 more torpedoes here. Still, there you are. Well, that's the Silverside. Pretty neat. And the sun is out, and it's warmer. Life's good again. Silversides. Now, if you want to know more about Silverside, I suggest you go online because there are some great videos produced here about the Silverside, including tours. So take a look at those. I think find them very, very interesting. And this is worth a stop. That was Silverside. Part 1 of the video. There's another part. I didn't just leave you hanging there. No, I didn't just leave you hanging right in the middle. Or but towards the end. But anyway, we got a second half to this video. But it would have made it really, really long if I'd have put them together. So next week we're going to see another ship, and then we're going to take a look at Muskegon a little bit. Great area. And you need to see this. But yeah, we've got another one to go through. I really enjoyed this one. It's been a long time since we've done something a little different. I'm glad to get out and do it. Glad to take you along. So anyway, stay tuned next week. Come on back and see the other half of this one. It's a good one. Till then, I'll see you guys down the road.
Sit back, relax, and take a virtual ride with me. You'll see interesting places you probably haven't seen. I hope you enjoy the ride and discover sit back, relax, and take a virtual ride with me. Sit back, relax, and take a virtual ride with me. You'll see interesting places you probably haven't seen. I hope you enjoy the ride and discover new places with me. Sit back, relax, and take a virtual ride with me. Sit back, relax, and take a virtual ride with me. You'll see interesting places you probably haven't seen. I hope you enjoy the ride and discover new places with me. Sit back, relax, and take a virtual ride with me.